Is that sweat? Is that panic perhaps? Or is that... No, that's success. That's success I see. Good job, Microsoft. Guys are turning it around.
The minute bomb.
All right, so we just got some sales numbers for the month of June for both the Xbox and Sony. Probably Nintendo as well, but you know, nobody really cares about that. Microsoft outsold Sony in consoles. I believe the numbers were 407 million for Microsoft and 211 million for Sony in console sales. Not bad. That's almost a 2x multiplier. X. Not bad. It's just 1 month. It's just the month of June. But hey, I mean, it's been nothing but dubs. If you're a hardcore Microsoft fan, if you're an Xbot, or if you're, you know, just someone who wants to see Microsoft do better in the space to push competition for both Sony and Nintendo, a big win. I mean, up until now, it's been Microsoft saying, you know, just giving us reasons to buy into Microsoft, and with their new strategy for this generation and moving forward. But now we're actually starting to see that that's actually working. So Sony sold $211 million worth of consoles in June, which is great numbers in itself. You know, it's still the fastest selling console of all time. So that's obviously not taken away from them. And frankly, if they had enough, they would sell $500 million worth of consoles in June, right? So I mean, really, and then if we're all being reasonable here, Microsoft outsold Sony, but if they were both selling as many as possible, like you know, the supply is no constraint, and Sony would sell more. You know, we all know this. So it's not really so much a victory that like Microsoft sold more this 1 month for like the first time in like a decade, right? Like that's not really what we're cheering about. You know, it's neat, it's noteworthy, it's a great job. But it's more so the fact that this may be, you know, the unveiling of a possible trend. You know, a trend, well, you all know what a trend is. You know, so far we got one dot. But if they do the same thing in July, and do something in August, and do something in September, now we're seeing something here, we're seeing a pattern. Either Sony isn't making any consoles, or Xbox is selling way more, or they're really hitting their stride. And with the content coming down the line for this year, it's looking good. It's looking like a good base platform for Microsoft moving forward. And what really interests me is, so coincidentally, they just wrapped up the server upgrades for the xCloud, which in theory took up 7.2 million chips. So that's potentially 7.2 million chips they could have sold as Xboxes, but instead they're in the servers for xCloud and Game Pass, which is fantastic. I mean, it's already a great service. I mean, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, and xCloud is a fantastic service. And seeing them put more effort into that, you know, I believe in the next few months, they're really going to start rolling out like those improvements. You know, whether it's the refresh rates or the resolution updates, they're going to start rolling those things out. But the fact of the matter is that the fact that Xbox took 7.2 million chips, again, potentially 7.2 million consoles. Now, I can't tell you if they would have made 7.2 million consoles, because it's not just a chip and we're done. You know, they're still gonna make the rest of it. But they could have potentially have already sold 7.2 million in addition to what they've sold. So it's kind of like we're going to see the next couple months. But if June is the beginning of a trend, then while Sony is the fastest selling console of all time, would they have been if Microsoft didn't take 7.2 million chips and put them in servers, and instead took that and sold consoles? You know, and that really goes to show Microsoft is very serious. Like, I mean, they have the best console on the market, but they're very serious about Game Pass and the future cloud gaming. I mean, to take 7.2 million consoles away from the possibility of circulation for a feature that's added as an added bonus when you use Game Pass, because that's big. That's dedication. They're really serious about that. You know, and June perhaps is the culmination of them not taking any more chips away from production. So, you know, at one end, Sony might be selling less because they're going through now at this point. You know, the supply could be tapering off. The chips are harder to make. It's already difficult to make them. There's also supply and fighting for semiconductors. So, you know, it could be a point where their supply is starting to taper off, and now Microsoft's supply is opening back up. Like, just enough to at least double those sales. Like, they doubled the amount of profit in console sales this month. You know, they didn't beat them by 50 million. They didn't beat them by like 12 million. And they beat them by almost 200 million. That's a big amount. And if that is the result of them not putting that into xCloud, then, you know, we looking at actual Microsoft, you know, those basically I'm excited about, because, you know, they're investing a lot of money and interest and energy into turning the ship around. And if they're starting to get those gains this early, you know, this early in the generation, I mean, the turnaround time for Game Pass, you know, has been really fast. You know, that's something they expected to still not be as many subscribers as it is right now. But if the console is also selling better because of that, then you get a nice little feedback loop where, you know, you're getting more subscribers, you're selling more consoles. You're selling more consoles, you're getting more subscribers. And the subscribers are coming in because the content's great, and new stuff is constantly coming in day and date. And now more people are buying into it. And now it's easier for Microsoft to pitch it to like Square Enix and stuff and such, and Capcom. And then eventually they're staring at a service that has 50 million subscribers, and then it's much easier for Microsoft to pitch that. Like, look, Capcom, the first day you put a game in here, there's 50 million eyeballs. Alright? There is not a single game in your repertoire you've sold 50 million copies of. But you can have up to 50 million people looking at this day one and buying DLC, right? For just one platform. That's the idea of Game Pass. That's the game. You know, and if it's easier for Microsoft to do that, then they don't have to put as much money out to do that. Because at least early on, and probably even now, they're front loading a lot of cash. You know, you got devs like, I'm going to put in day one, but I need a little something, you know? So, you know, but if they got 50, 60, 70 million subscribers, which is not ridiculous, not too ridiculous. I think it's like 100 million like Xbox Live subscribers. So it's not, and it's like 100 million like PSN subscribers at least. So it's not too ridiculous. You know, then you're creating a feedback loop. You know, better stuff in Game Pass, sell console. You sell console, you sell Game Pass. So, you know, that's the exciting part. So we're towards the end of July right now. We're not gonna find out July sales until late August. But hopefully we are starting to establish a trend. And it's not so much a trend because, oh look, we're beating Sony. I mean, Sony's part of the game, but Sony's not the game. So, you know, it's not so much about like, yeah, we beat Sony 2 months in a row. Sony's like, yeah, we beat you for 10 years in a row. So, but it's about getting the people. It's about getting It's about getting the people in the ecosystem. It's about the ecosystem making more demand for more people to come in. You know, the whole thing. This is really good stuff. And again, not just for Microsoft. The better Microsoft does, the better Sony has to be. You know, Microsoft had their day in the sun with the 360. And then when the PS4 happened, Sony really had to dig deep and look within. You know, they finished strong on the PS3, but they started bad. They started with an ego the size of Texas. And right now, they're doing that same thing. They got an ego the size of, at least Wyoming. I mean, they got a real ego right now. Like they got a serious PR problem, and they're not even saying nothing. They're not even saying nothing, because saying nothing is better than them trying to answer for anything they've been doing. And not just as of late, but their practices and dealings and behaviors, like for this last console generation, that's been accepted because of how well they've been selling and how far of a lead in the market they had. So, again, yeah, they're not even saying nothing. People are mad about the director's cut for Ghost of Tsushima. I had a video about that the other day. People are mad about the situation with crossplay and the support for indie devs and all of that. You know, there's a lot of outrage and a lot of problems with all of that. And Sony has not said nothing. Nothing. They're not even defending themselves. And that's fine. That's a woman to approach something. But if the best reply is say nothing, and Microsoft's best response is give me life, give me games and give me life, it's not hard to see why Microsoft could theoretically pull ahead and gain some major traction. They fucked up with the Xbox One, and they've been spending the last 5 6 years trying to make up for that. So, you know, and hopefully they keep it up. And the better they do, the better Sony's gonna have to be. Sony's gonna have to check out this crossplay and how they treat their devs and how they treat support how they support everybody around them. And they're going to have to look at that and say, well, is this sustainable? I mean, it was all fun and games when we had 120 million units sold and we could say or do whatever we want. But now Microsoft's in the lead, and with Game Pass, like, we can't compete with Game Pass, so we need to not be assholes, like, at the very least. Like, Sony's gonna sell. Like, I mean, in the worst case, if Sony completely bombs it, they'll sell 80 million copies, like 80 million consoles. If they completely bomb it, they'll still sell 80. Right? That's amazing. That's more than Xbox sold in Xbox Ones. Right? And that was with the Series X at the end boosting sales. So Sony, at their worst, can't do worse than what the Xbox One did. And Microsoft almost died. So yeah, again, you know, just hopefully this pushes the whole picture. You know, just hopefully Microsoft keeps pushing itself, pushes Sony, pushes Nintendo, it pushes consoles as a whole to be better. So, what do you got? How do you all? All right. So, how do you all feel? Do you even care about the potential momentum Xbox is setting up? Is it just a bunch of bullshit? Like, nobody really cares? Alright, and like always, you know, leave your comments in the section below. And while you're at it, hit the like and subscribe button. And yeah, this is Kay with the bare minimum. And hopefully you'll see me in the next one.